A man pulls up to a stoplight in a brand new leased BMW, the kind with the paper plates still on it because the ink on the loan isn't even dry yet. Next to him, an old Toyota Corolla idles in the other lane, paint a little faded, one hubcap missing. The guy driving it is wearing a t-shirt that's been through 1,000 washes. Here's the thing. The BMW driver made a car payment this morning that's bigger than most people's rent. The Corolla driver, he's worth $4.2 million. Not a typo. He owns 3 rental properties, maxes out his retirement accounts every single year, and could buy that BMW in cash without blinking. He just doesn't want to. So which one of these guys is actually rich? Here's the paradox nobody wants to say out loud in 2026. The people who look poor are usually the ones building wealth. The people who look rich are usually the ones bleeding it out, month after month, to keep the illusion alive. Looking poor isn't an accident. For a lot of wealthy people, it's a strategy. Let's get into the numbers because they're wild. 79% of self-made millionaires never received any inheritance at all. They built it from nothing, quietly, while nobody was watching. The average millionaire drives a car that's 4 years old, and a huge chunk of them buy used, not new. Get this, only 2 out of 5 people who look wealthy on the outside actually have a positive net worth once you subtract their debt. 2 out of 5. Think about that for a second. The other 3 are basically renting the appearance of success from a bank. In 2026, the average new car payment in America crossed $750 a month. Not the price of the car, the monthly payment. Meanwhile, studies on high net worth households keep finding the same thing over and over. Most of them live in homes valued well below what they could actually afford. They are not living at the edge of their income. They are living way, way under it. And here's the one that gets people quiet in the comments every time. The number one predictor of someone's actual net worth isn't their job title, and it isn't their salary. It's how long they can go without touching their income at all. Let that sit there for a second. So why does almost nobody do this? Why do so many people who could build real wealth choose to look rich instead? There's a mechanism behind it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. I call it the visibility tax. Here's how it works. Every time you buy something visible, a car, a bag, a watch, a bigger house than you need, you're not really buying the object. You're buying a signal. You're paying other people to think a certain thing about you. The problem is, the signal has a subscription fee. It doesn't end at the purchase. You have to keep paying to keep the story alive. New car every 3 years so it doesn't look old. Bigger house because the first one isn't impressive anymore. Vacations posted at the right resorts so the feed matches the story. The visibility tax isn't one purchase. It's a recurring payment on an image, and the interest rate on that payment is your entire financial future. Here's the part that makes it sneaky. It doesn't feel like a tax when you're paying it. It feels like a reward. You get the dopamine hit the second people notice, the compliment on the car, the comment on the vacation photos. Your brain logs that as a win. But wealth doesn't get built in dopamine hits. Wealth gets built in the boring, invisible gap between what you earn and what you spend. And the visibility tax exists specifically to close that gap before it can turn into anything. You are not broke because you don't make enough. A lot of the time, you're broke because you're funding a performance for an audience that genuinely is not paying that close attention to you. Let's put a real number on this, because the math is the part that actually changes behavior. Say you're leasing that BMW for $800 a month instead of driving something reliable and unremarkable for $200 a month. That's a $600 gap every single month. Now, instead of paying the visibility tax, you invest that $600 a month into a basic index fund. Historically, that kind of fund has returned somewhere around 8 to 10% a year on average. Let's be conservative and use 8. After 10 years, that $600 a month has grown into roughly $110,000. After 30 years, same monthly amount, same rate, that number becomes just over $880,000. One car decision, almost $1 million. And that's just the car. Most people are running this same leak in 3 or 4 categories at once. The car, the house that's bigger than they need, the wardrobe, the vacations that exist mainly to be photographed. Stack those visibility taxes on top of each other, and you're not looking at one missed $880,000. You're looking at several of them, running in parallel for your entire working life. That's the whole trick. Nobody hands you a bill that says visibility tax. It just quietly shows up as a smaller number in your retirement account 30 years from now, and you never connect the two. So what do actual wealthy people do instead? Because it's not what you'd think. Research on self-made millionaires keeps landing on the same finding. The wealthier someone actually is, the less their spending correlates with looking wealthy. A lot of them intentionally underconsume relative to their income, on purpose, for decades, and they don't find it painful because they never let the lifestyle creep in far enough to miss it. There's a pattern researchers call living below your means becoming your actual means. It's not deprivation, it's just never letting the target move. The genuinely wealthy also tend to separate the concept of income from the concept of wealth completely in their head, which brings us to the one idea that reframes everything you just heard. Income is a faucet, wealth is a tank. You can have a huge faucet, a massive salary, and still have an empty tank if every drop runs straight through and out the drain. And you can have a modest faucet, a totally average salary, and end up with a full tank if you're actually capturing what flows through it. Looking rich is optimizing the faucet. Looking poor, or at least looking unremarkable, is protecting the tank. And the tank is the only one of the two that's still there when you're 65. All right, let's get into the actual playbook. These are the moves that separate people who look rich from people who are rich. The first move is what I'd call the invisible vehicle rule. Buy a car that is 1 to 3 years old, paid in cash or paid off fast, and drive it until it doesn't make sense to drive it anymore. Marcus, a guy I know who works in logistics, drove the same Honda Accord for 11 years. He wasn't broke, he was running the math. Skipping one $700 car payment a month for 11 years and investing it instead put him within striking distance of $190,000 just from a car he decided not to buy. I am not done yet. The second move is the housing ceiling. Buy or rent below what the bank approves you for, not up to it. If you're approved for $500,000, buy $350,000. That $150,000 gap in loan size alone can save you hundreds of dollars a month in interest, taxes, and insurance combined. Money that goes into the tank instead of the faucet. The third move is what I call the one-splurge rule. Pick exactly one category you actually care about and let yourself spend there without guilt. Everything else stays intentionally boring. Priya does this with travel. Her car is a decade old, her apartment is modest, but she has a real travel budget every year because that's the one thing she genuinely values. The trick isn't zero spending, it's concentrated spending instead of scattered spending. The fourth move is the delay filter. Before any purchase over $200, wait 48 hours. This one sounds small, but the math is not. If that filter kills even one impulse buy of $300 a month, and you invest that instead, you're looking at close to $45,000 over 10 years from a single habit that costs you nothing but patience. Nope, not over yet. The fifth move is paying yourself first, literally moving a percentage of every paycheck into investments the same day it lands before it ever touches your checking account. Jordan set this up at 15% the day he got his first real job. He never saw that money as spendable, so he never missed it. 10 years in, he's not scraping by trying to save what's left. There's nothing left to fight over because the decision already got made automatically. The sixth move is what I call cost per use math, and it sounds nerdy, but it's genuinely one of the most useful filters there is. Before buying anything expensive, divide the price by how many times you'll realistically use it. A $3,000 watch worn twice a week for 5 years works out to about $5.77 a wear. Fine, that might actually be worth it to you. But a $3,000 handbag that gets used 4 times before it sits in a closet is $750 per use. That number changes decisions fast once you actually see it written out. The seventh move is the raise rule. Every time your income goes up, only let your lifestyle absorb half of it. If you get a $10,000 raise, let yourself spend $5,000 of it on lifestyle and send the other $5,000 straight into investments. Dana used this exact rule across 4 raises over 8 years and ended up investing an extra $38,000 that she genuinely never felt like she was missing because she'd never lived on it in the first place. The eighth and final move is the audience check. Before any big purchase, ask yourself one honest question. Am I buying this for me, or am I buying this for the people who will see it? If the honest answer is the second one, that's the visibility tax trying to collect from you in real time. Just naming it out loud kills most of the impulse before it turns into a decision you have to live with for years. Now let me tell you about two people who started in the exact same spot, because this is where the whole thing becomes real instead of theoretical. Dana and Sam got hired at the same company, same year, same starting salary, $62,000 a year, same entry-level marketing role. Sam leased a car within the first month. New apartment in the trendy part of town, a little above budget because it made sense for someone in his position. Within 2 years, he'd upgraded the car again. His Instagram looked incredible. Genuinely, it did. Dana kept her old car from college, split a modest 2-bedroom with a roommate for 3 years longer than she probably needed to. Nobody's feed was impressed by Dana. She invested 20% of every paycheck starting month 1 and never touched it. Fast forward 8 years. Same company gave them both similar raises along the way. Promotions landed around the same time too. Sam still looks like he's doing great. New car every few years, a 2-bedroom apartment on his own now, a closet full of stuff that photographs well. Sam also has $4,000 in savings and a credit card balance he's been carrying for 2 years. Dana bought a modest condo in cash for the down payment, drives a car that's now 8 years old and paid off, and has just under $210,000 invested. Same salary, same 8 years, same starting line. One of them looks rich, the other one is rich. And from the outside, for most of those 8 years, you would have bet on the wrong one every single time. Here's the deeper thing underneath every rule I just gave you. None of this playbook works if you don't actually understand what's happening with your money in the first place. All of it, the car rule, the housing ceiling, the raise rule, sits on top of one single skill, and that skill is financial literacy. Not a finance degree, not a spreadsheet obsession. Just actually understanding what compounding does, what debt costs you in real dollars, and what your own number really is instead of guessing. Most people never get taught this. Not in school, not at home, not anywhere. So they end up making 6-figure decisions with a math education that stopped at fractions. That's genuinely the entire reason this channel exists. Not to tell you to deprive yourself, not to shame anyone's BMW. Just to hand you the actual numbers so you can make the choice with your eyes open instead of your eyes on everyone else. Because once you understand the math, the flashy option stops looking impressive. It just starts looking expensive. So go back to that stoplight, the BMW on paper plates, the Corolla with the missing hubcap. You already know which one of them is going to be fine in 30 years. The quietest person in the room is usually the one who never had to prove anything to it.